94.7 WLS, Danny Lake here, and we've got Chicago in studio here. Now, since we've had I think we've had to knock out a wall to bring in the horn section here. But let's like they do in football games, we'll introduce each one. You guys can kind of say, hey, it's me, and just go ahead. Lee
Loughnane, Elmwood Park.
Lou Pardini, California.
Robert Lamm, South Side.
There you go.
Jason Scheff, San Diego.
All right. And welcome to the WLS here, and we want to welcome one of the all-time greatest bands of rock and roll history, Chicago. And you guys have a brand new single out.
Yes.
And this isn't the first time you've gotten into political awareness as far as writing or performing a song. You've had Dialogue, which, Robert, you wrote at one time. Lee Loughnane, you wrote the latest one called America. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, my wife and I were sitting around one day, and the subject of the what's happening in America came up, and we started thinking, the American dream is really starting to deteriorate, and that was the germ of the song. So I came up with the chorus pretty quickly, America is you and me. And from there, it took a couple more months to put the rest of it together and have it gel into a song.
Fortunately or unfortunately, when one is attempting to interpret current events in a song, especially lately, there's never any lack of material to work with,
to say the least.
So,
well, the thing is that it's like when I was writing the song, these events hadn't occurred yet. They had come to the cliff before, so they had threatened us with the cliff, and this is not going to, we can't make a decision, and so those things have been ongoing probably since 1776. but for who knew that they would actually shut the government down and make the lyric even more poignant than it already is.
How when you were thinking about all these and being passionate about these lyrics, what was some of the backstory on it? What were you doing along the way to come up with these concepts? I mean, what were you jotting down on your paper?
I was actually taking my son back and forth to school, and when I would drop him off, I'd come up with some sort of lyric line, pull over at the side of the road, write it down, and within 2-3 weeks, I had a whole page of lyric. And then I took it to Robert one day, and because I couldn't make sense of it, I couldn't really put it solidified into the song, and Robert arranged the same words in a different way on the page, and that night I started coming up with the concept, just out of nowhere.
Let's talk to Lou as far as actually the lead vocalist on that song, America, and what were you feeling what were your perceptions of the song?
Well, I had seen the lyrics, but I had yet to really dig into the song, as far as kind of feeling the emotion, and we recorded. Lee came up to me the day before when we were in Nashville and said, I would really still like you to put down a vocal on this, and so we scheduled it the next morning, and I was singing, and the funny thing is, it's not a funny thing, but after we were finished with the vocal, I looked at Lee, and he had tears coming down his eyes, and then I did too, and I get emotional thinking about it. But it's funny. I was trying to make light of it, because guys don't like to cry in front of each other. But so I said to him, I said, I have to tell you that when I was singing that thing from the beginning to the end, it was all I could do to not get choked up, because the more I sang it and the more I looked at the lyrics, the more it meant a lot to me.
That's method acting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it was me that actually wrote the lyric, but I feel that it came through me. Songs are somewhere else. This was a song that wanted to be written for a long time, and I'm just happy that it came through me.
Well, Lee, you and Robert have been with the band since the very beginning. With Lou, the lead singer, you've been here, 4 or 5 years?
But it feels much longer.
It feels longer.
He's a good fit.
Jason Scheff over here has been, he's been here, 26? 27 years?
28 in
28
September.
years.
28 in September.
In September,
Wow.
yeah, just hit the 28 mark. Yeah.
And you come from a rock and roll family. Your dad,
I
Jerry,
do.
played guitar for Elvis.
Bass, but
Bass, okay.
Bass guitar, yeah. So halfway, right? Yeah. Not to get technical, but yeah, he joined the TCB band, taking care of business. Elvis did his comeback special, and he was worried that since he'd gone off to the service, that the fans wouldn't really like him anymore, and that '69 comeback special was so successful that he put a hand-picked group together, and so that was the Vegas years.
Excellent.
So yeah.
And you're 28, 26 happy years with Chicago now, right?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. We talk about this a lot individually and as a group, that the gratitude of having the opportunity and the chance. And Walt and I walk out on stage. We have a little look we give each other that's basically like riding a motorcycle. It's like, let's ride, man. What a great ride, And
almost like Carol Burnett's pulling on the ear, but it's between you two.
It is,
yeah.
and like I said, individually we talk about it and just realize how lucky we are, because who gets to do this and for this long, and the road narrows. It's you look at we'll partner up with bands out there, and it just gets less and less each year that these groups are around.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why a lot of the fans that come around and watch multiple concerts, they realize it's it's a limited supply, and so just as a member of the group, I have that gratitude and realize that one day, this won't be here. So
well, as Robert has said before, this has been we've done it 46 years, but it's been like one long road trip.
yeah.
You guys, obviously, to your success, what would you say, besides talent, besides songwriting ability, singing, and musicianship, what is the real thing that has kept you together for 45, 46 years?
Calluses on our butt.
And the songs.
Really, all the ability to travel together as a group and maintain our civilized relationships with each other. I think that's a tribute to the personalities in the band, and it's very unusual, as you know. I mean, rock and roll bands are not, the DNA of rock and roll bands is not longevity.
Mm-mm.
So we've learned how to be friendly and outgoing and also estranged on the same bus. Depending on what your mood is, you can just go into your bunk, close the curtain, and you're by yourself.
So I think we're a mutant rock band.
Because when you think about it, we've spent more time with each other than we have our wives and our children.
It's true,
pretty much,
absolutely.
And that's an adjustment that you really have to. That's the gratitude things. Realize it. It's a lucky thing.
What are some of the things that you do to prepare yourself mentally and physically for your performances and your long road trips?
I just warm up every day,
Mm-hmm.
take my horn out, get it ready, and make sure that the air is flowing, and here we go. One more day, baby.
Robert?
I sort of have a routine. It's fitness based, but for me, my voice really hasn't changed very much at all over the 4 decades or whatever. So what works for me is not talking. I'm not a talkative person anyway, although this interview may dispute that. But I tend not to talk all day.
That's okay. We're not playing tonight.
And then I warm up when I get to the I have a routine when as soon as I walk into the dressing room, I start singing scales and I get ready. And
So mentally and physically, that sure helps you perform and put on a dynamite show every
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Now that you guys look back over 46 years, is there anything you would have done differently? Anything differently career-wise, or?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think. But
it's funny. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think there's, looking back on it, Robert says it was a long tour, and in the meantime, we grew up together. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had a talk with a good friend of mine who's known me for a very long time. He's not in the business or anything like that. He's sort of a mentor, though. And I said, I've kind of gotten to the point in my life where I start pondering my life, my past. He shook his head. He said, "Don't ponder, don't ponder." He says, really, is there any day in your life that you've lived with Chicago, performing with Chicago that you would do over again? And I said, well, I could think of a couple of moments that I wish I could take back, but I said, I said, really, all of those moments, whether they were good or bad, have gotten us up to a very long way. And the state that the band is in now is as positive as I can ever recall, except we're more conscious of it, which is kind of an advantage.
Because you got a huge backstory.
Huge backstory.
I'm a big believer in if I could change anything in my past, everything changes. And this is a pretty cool moment right now. And so I realized that, and you've heard it said a lot of different ways, that everything happens for a reason. This is what got you here. But I look at this particular moment and realize if I could change any tiny thing in my past, I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now. So it's like, I'll take it, man.
I'll take it too.
Hey, we're talking about time travel now.
That's right.
Okay.
Very Star Trek.
At the signpost up ahead. But out of all the songs, now Robert, you, Lee in particular, and Robert here, you guys have written so many songs that America, the world has heard. I mean, are there, just with Robert to start off with, I know you've written Beginnings, you name it. Question
67,
yeah.
68.
Can you give us any insight into Beginnings for us?
Well, Beginnings actually started as a result of my attending a performance of Richie Havens. Really, within the first couple of weeks that the first of us moved from Chicago to Los Angeles, I wandered into the Ash Grove, a legendary club in Hollywood, and I saw Richie Havens performing with his trio, 2 guitars and a conga. And it just made me crazy how beautiful that was, and how rhythmic and how intense and how groovy it was. And so I had some words jotted down in a notebook that I keep my ideas in. I picked up a guitar, which didn't have 12 strings; it only had 10, and I basically became Richie Havens there in the privacy of my own room.
10 strings without, not 12?
Not 12. Didn't have the low E. Didn't have the two low E's.
So improvisation.
Exactly. Well, work with what you have.
Wasn't there a story about you using that exact guitar when you composed 25 or 6 to 4?
I did, actually, and not really knowing how to play the guitar. That particular guitar was leaning against the wall, so I reached over and I played the riff as best as I could. Once I kind of had the song and brought it to the band to rehearse. We actually rehearsed the song, I think, at the Whiskey the first time.
Whiskey A Go Go in L.A.?
Yeah. In the afternoon, I showed it to Terry, and I said, "This is kind of what I'm thinking." And he went, "Oh yeah, I got it." So
Let me ask you something. Did you write that whole song in one day, as the lyrics say?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
So by 4 a.m. he was going, I'm a little tired. I wonder, what's going on here. And he looked across the room, and it was 25 or 26 minutes to 4 a.m.
That's the title.
I got a question too. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So did you write that song on a guitar with no E string on it?
Right.
That's crazy, because if you think
That
about
is crazy.
25 or 6 to 4, that's really where it comes from. What'd you do? Go up like in a that is crazy. If anybody plays guitar, they know
what
that.
he was doing.
Well, that's why
like
Beginnings has
visionary.
that open A chord.
Yeah.
And guitar players now, you have to deaden the E string to have that open chord go.
That's crazy.
Lee, you've written so many songs yourself. I mean, Call on Me, right?
Yeah, I've written a handful of
No Tell
songs.
Lover?
No Tell Lover. yeah.
What are some of the others that you've written?
Call
Besides
on Me,
America.
No Tell Lover, America,
Yep.
This Time, Together Again. That's about it.
Good songs.
It's very
Good
good.
songs.
Not a problem at all.
The thing is that both Lou and Jason are prolific songwriters. If they had been in the band, or if the band had started 28 years ago, there would be many more of their really excellent songs.
Well, Jason sang lead on Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?
Yes.
Hit number 1.
That was pretty cool. That was walking into a well-oiled machine at pretty much dominating the pop music world. They were sort of walk in and say, okay, here's this song, and sing it. I would
Sing it.
sing it. Kid. It's funny because I would look at the Grammys and see the winners of New Artist of the Year, and would go, I'll never get to be a part of something like that, but that's okay. I mean, something that's established. But yeah, it was it was a great time, and it's neat to go out there and play the song now.
So with Lou and yourself, I mean, these icons, this iconic band, Chicago, greatest all-round band in history. What were your thoughts in joining such a band like this?
Well, I was pretty blown away the day. The call from Lee actually came totally unexpected. There was no precursor or anything. I had no idea. And, I grew up, and I just found my Chicago 2 album. My mom pulled a bunch of 33s out of a closet when I was home a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Oh wow, I did have that album." And I remember reading the liner notes and seeing Lee and Robert and Terry and Walt and everybody, and I look around and I'm sitting right next to him. So it was I remember thinking, that's what I want to do when I was a teenager. I want to be playing on records and seeing Robert behind the keyboards. I said, I want to be a keyboard player like that. And
Wow.
I got into
dreams come true.
I got into a horn band, and the first song that they let me sing was "Call on Me" that Lee wrote.
That Lee wrote. Huh?
So, and now I'm singing it. So it's definitely a daily pinch myself moment. And even though I've done some great things with other people. I've written songs for Smokey Robinson and the Temptations and different people, and always had success as a songwriter. And now I'm in this iconic band, and I'm thinking, man, I got to write songs for this band. What a treat to be able to even think about doing
Absolutely. Now, what are you looking for in 2014? I mean, besides, obviously you got the new single out. What would you like to see? What different way would you like to see the band even continue?
Well, for me personally, I am really loving. America is actually the second single that we've released. The intent is to continue to complete many of the tracks that we've already started and release them at probably 6-week intervals. I'd like to someday finish the album.
It will be finished.
It will be finished.
Incrementally. And Robert's, the first single was written by Robert's called Something Coming I Know. And so those are both up on the website, chicagotheband.com. And you could
also they can also find your song America on our website, 947wls.com too. And we've been getting a lot of hits on that.
We talked a little bit about Lee's first song, Call on Me, and him being very insecure about submitting it. America is such a magnificent piece of writing.
Absolutely.
He's come a long way.
Can I just say one last quick thing about, it's so easy to get caught up in all the media looking at our country and the state that it's in and all the negativity. I got to tell you, it's really great to live somewhere where you can have songs and express yourself without being thrown in jail or, that's
it does say
that's
something,
amazing.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It'll be even better when they actually do work together.
Yeah.
That's why I wrote We the People. I mean, if we're going to do something, it's us that has to get it done.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
Yep.